It seems like Na'Vi just aren't themselves lately. They went from the grand finals at the Face-It Major to bombing out of the group stage at ESL One New York. But even more surprising, they lost two best-of-3 series versus Gambit. Na'Vi, the second best team in the world, lost convincingly to a regional rival that's ranked 20th. After that, there might be troubles for the CIS squad as they head into Epicenter this week. So let's take a look at their biggest problems from New York and how Na'Vi might fix them and climb back to the top. Before we jump into the games, we should note that Na'Vi only had 3 days between the Face-It Major and ESL One New York. That's 3 days to process their loss, travel from London to New York, and try and prep for the event. With such a short time span, plus the fact that Na'Vi are infamous for being slow starters at events, their 2-1 loss to Gambit could almost be considered a fluke. Flame even talked about it in his post-game interview.
We had a team talk after the game versus Gambit. We discussed that we need to just relax. It's only first game. We always losing it. Nothing bad happened.
But even if we ignore the match 1 results, Na'Vi's second best-of-3 loss versus Gambit still showed major problems in their T-side approach. Na'Vi fought their way to number 2 in the world by using aggressive mid-round focused T-sides that hinge on team chemistry in post-plants and executes, especially on maps like Nuke and Inferno. But in this second best-of-3, we saw Na'Vi lean on their individual players, not their team play and macro structure. And to be fair, sometimes it worked. In round 13 in the decider match versus Gambit on Nuke, we saw Zeus with a Hero AK and the rest of the team forcing pistols around it. Electronic tries to dive into vents early but gets punished by Mir. Na'Vi push Secret quick and make contact with Hobbit, where Simple hits a nasty opening 1v. As Na'Vi push forward, Simple finds another huge entry onto Adren, who rotated into vents. Flamey then hears Dozia drop into Dark, punishing him with a great headshot. Then, he peeks around the smoke to find another one-tap onto Mo. Simple then closes the round with yet another one-tap onto Mir from behind. The power of players like Simple and Flamey can just take over a round by winning duels through sheer force. Na'Vi pulled the same thing off again in their second game against Gambit on Inferno, where they steal a crazy eco win in the 4th round. Simple hits 3 insane 1-deeks across the map, putting Gambit's economy in a bad place, and allowing Na'Vi to quickly get 3 rounds they otherwise wouldn't have. Na'Vi played some loose individual focus rounds, using Simple to find monster one-tap entries in isolated duels against the CTs. It looks great. But where Na'Vi really failed was in relying on it for consistent round wins. Giving up team play is dangerous, as we saw in round 7 from the Inferno game. Na'Vi and Gambit are both on full buys. Gambit throw utility deep into Banana early, forcing Zeus to push up to Banana wall, while isolating Electronic by top T ramp. Hobbit and Dozia then push top Banana, finding a pick onto Electronic. Zeus, hesitant to trade, calls for a flash from Simple at bottom of Banana. Zeus doesn't time his peek right, and his team flashed by Simple. Hobbit has no problem cleaning him up, forcing a 3v5, which Gambit easily closes out in the mid-round. Small mistakes like this might not normally cost Na'Vi momentum on their T side, but unfortunately for them, Gambit's CT side pressure was relentless. They force individual duels against Na'Vi, and with little structure to fall back on, Na'Vi's players were just taking duels from disadvantageous positions. Their lack of cohesion left them hanging again in round 12 on the same Inferno game against Gambit. Here, Dozia and Hobbit throw heavy utility towards Banana early, trying to get map pressure. Na'Vi mollies barrels, but Hobbit pushes into the molly to find an early trade onto Zeus, leaving Dozia as the anchor. As the round plays out, Edward tries to peek out a boiler for information, while the rest of his team sets up in Banana. This would have been a solid plan had Zeus stayed alive, but since Na'Vi is already down a man, Edward ends up giving Adren an easy frag, putting Na'Vi in a 3v4 scenario. With no map control besides Banana, Na'Vi hits the B site. Dozia finds the first frag onto Flamey, but is quickly traded out. Now Na'Vi has control of B's site, and is in a decent spot to hold off the retake. But then Electronic peeks down Banana and gets taken out by Adren, leaving Simple in an impossible 1v3. But then again, we're talking about Simple. He starts by hitting a nice flick onto a Dren jumping at Banana Wall. He's smoked off by Gambit as they get into the site. Simple pushes into the smoke and hits an insane shot onto Mir, then turns onto Mo, somehow closing the round with no vision of the last 2 frags. So yes, Na'Vi won the round, but only because of Simple's literal superhuman play. It's the team's structural issues that put him in that spot, and they can't keep counting on just one player doing the impossible round after round. At the end of the day, even with superstar showings from Simple and big maps from Flamey and Edward, Na'Vi could only win 1 map in 2 best-of-3 series against Gambit. The rounds they did win relied too much on individual skill in loose plays, and not enough on the cohesive mid-round plays that made Na'Vi a top team. Na'Vi's return to their structure and team play will be the most important objective for them in their break between events. But, with Liquid and FaZe both having time off as well, we might need some heroic performances to close out series on big stages. Blitz has a new Fortnite channel with tips and tricks to help you crush mobiles and maybe even win.